For people listening that are thinking of this, like genuinely, what have been some of the biggest struggles that you could share?
I would say in 2021 and 2022 was incredibly lonely. It's incredibly lonely at first. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. Because, I mean, in Utah, there's definitely parts of the country where there's online money communities. Tampa is a huge one. There's a ton of them in Tampa. But where I was at in St. George, Utah, I was playing college football still. Even my best friends, they're nowadays they're more on the entrepreneur wave and trying to do some great stuff. But at the time, like there was nobody that truly could even comprehend or understand what I was trying to build and do outside of my fiance, because I told her about it all the time. But like family and friends, like nobody gets it. Like when you run into a problem, nobody gets it. And nobody is going to understand why you're going to stay up till 2 a.m. on a Saturday night when you're in college making a service agreement. Because you need to have something to send it. You know what I mean? Like people just don't get that. So there's moments of like, you'll have a big win or you'll have a big loss, and it's like you want to share it with someone, but nobody even gets it. So it's not even worth sharing. So that's where the community aspect is really huge. And that's one of the huge reasons why I joined Client Ascension. It's a high ticket, it's a premium coaching program, but it is a top tier community. And just being like in a community with about 300 other people, with other business owners that have built legit stuff to 50K, 100K, 200K a month. That has been huge. So huge. And that's where I'm a business partner. So
I'd like to talk about that. So loneliness.
As soon as you have the money to invest in community or coaching, you should do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's interesting for me, loneliness is definitely a thing. And so a lot of people don't think of this. You go to your normal job, you go in and you pretty much, unless your boss sucks and the organization's goofy, you know what's expected of you. And I don't think people understand. It's like we look at a blank canvas genuinely. It's like, okay, I'm gonna paint a ship. How am I gonna paint this ship? And you make the ship painting, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this needs to morph into a silhouette of a ship, and I need an ocean. And you just keep, I think there's a great analogy where you set out to the market and you bring purple cubes to the market. And as you sell a couple purple cubes, it's like, oh, wait a minute. These need to be purple rectangle cubes, whatever that is, right? Or a rhombus, is that what it is? And and you're morphing, you gotta stay true to your roots, and yet you're trying to respond to what you're learning as you're doing it. And so it's a cliche that says, you wear a lot of hats as an entrepreneur, but you really need to be ready for, you're gonna have to fill in the gaps on so much like, hey, how are you gonna bill people? Like functionally, how do you invoice? Okay, I invoice. Yeah. Well, what do I market as? Okay, is it subject to sales tax? I'm not really sure. Okay, that's just, let's say I got the sale. Then it's like, okay, now I need a website. Oh, I need to be on Google. Oh, I need to get more leads. Yeah. I need to create a video. What do I do? Should I buy Windows? Should I buy Mac? Like, people just go to work and they have no idea how many decisions have been made for them up to that point.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. A lot of it is when you're very first starting, you have to be minimally viably competent at so many different things. And that's why you just have to start. Because yes, it doesn't matter if you're the best accountant on the planet. If you can't have a landing page with a decent funnel to get someone to book a call, it doesn't matter. If you can't sell that person when they get on the call, it doesn't matter. It's like you need to know how to make a little bit of content. You need to know how to use Zapier and do some automations. You need to know, like, there's a lot of little stuff you have to know. But that's the thing, is you take those couple of hours to learn that thing, and that skill is with you for a long time. That's the thing. Once you hit 10, 20, 30K a month, even if it burns down, you will get to that level much faster than you did the first time because you already have that stack of skills. It's just a lot of people are not comfortable with working for 6 months and having nothing happen.
Yep.
But that's what it takes. Like, you have to be willing to eat it for 6 months as you stack those skill sets to be able to make some money. And I really liked what you said too, going back to some of the struggles. I think where I definitely still struggle, and I think a ton of people out there wanting to start or who are just starting really struggle, is deciding which levers to pull. And I think a lot of them pull the wrong levers, especially when they're really, really first starting. Okay, if I pull this lever over here, spending 5 hours trying to make my logo look nice, or if I spend 5 hours doing cold outreach in my Twitter DMs and cold email and Instagram, which is gonna make you more money, right? And a lot of people, 9 out of 10 people are gonna do the logo because they think it's important.
And then there's the subtle ones. And then there's subtleties like, should I do outreach on Twitter or should I make a video on Twitter? Should I make a video on Twitter or should I do the tweet? Should I go on YouTube? Like what you framed up there, yeah. And then there's even like, it gets harder. Like you actually, how do you choose from good to good to good to good? There's 3 good things you should do. Which one should you do? How do you test? That's
do I invest in new VSL for my website? Do I hire here? Do I upgrade this or do I upgrade that? Where do I put the money back into? It gets harder for sure. And I've felt some of that. Even in the last 6 months, there was some money that I've spent that I was like, now that it's happened, looking back on it, it's like, okay, did that really make me more money?
Yeah.
Not really.
It's hard.
You know, and that's where I'm trying to get better in my mental frames is stepping back and zooming out and being like, okay, is this going to make me more money? Because that's the whole point of business. Is this going to make more money and is this going to help me help people better?
That's good.